What's going on today, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect, and today we're going to do something a little different. Instead of trying to chase our way down to the bottom to try to find a gem, we're going to just go straight to the top and talk about the AYN Odin 2. Come on, let's take a look. Today's video is probably going to be a little faster than normal. I haven't had a whole lot of hands-on time with this yet, unfortunately. I've been trying to get ready to make this video, and I just had a lot going on. So I want to play with it a little bit more before I do a big video for you, but I do want to go over a few things with this, because the AYN Odin last year was my favorite device. Arguably, it could have been this year, depending on when you got yours. I believe I got mine on December 17th, and I only remember because I went in for surgery that day. It showed up, and one of my friends drove it an hour and a half to me so that I could get it set up while I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks recovering. So this device I've spent a lot of time with, and this was my main emulator last year. The whole entire 2023, this has been my main emulator, if I'm not just throwing something in my pocket. I could argue that this is pocketable because I wear sweatpants every day, but it does fall out of your sweatpants pockets because it is so big, so not exactly pocketable. So we'll just call it an emulation handheld console thingy-mabobber. But now we have the AYN Odin 2, and this thing is beautiful. For one, I thought this was comfortable with the way that they had done the backs last year. This is far more comfortable. So we're going to go through the I/O real quick. We're going to go through a couple of games real quick, and then I'm going to follow up in about a week or two, and we are going to go through some more things on the device. I could probably go off the knowledge I have on it, but I'd rather be able to do it, make sure it works the way I want it to, and then be able to show you guys how to do it as well. So we'll go through the I/O here real quick. On the top, like we always do, we do have Hall effect triggers for L and R. We do have our shoulder buttons. They do all feel very, very nice. They got good travel too. You can see, I probably need to hold it this way. I got some good travel. So that is really well done. I do like that, and with this bump here, you don't really get hooked on them too often. At least you didn't on the old one, I haven't seen that on this one. We do have some cooling back here with our open grate vent, and then we do have an M1 and M2 button for additional resources. Sticking with the top here, we do have our power button. We do have our volume up and down. It's a great place for it, I think. Some people don't like that, but I like it up on top. Again, ventilation for active cooling. We have a micro HDMI cable out. And we also do have a micro memory card hole right here underneath this cover. This one's got a hole cover on it. All right, left and right, there's nothing on the sides of this device. Okay, we already did the top, front, back. On the bottom here, we do have a 355mm hole. And we also do have a USB Type-C hole. And this can also transfer video as well. All right, here on the front, we do have our select and start buttons on top. It's actually not a bad place for them. It's kind of a weird place for them, but it's not a bad place for them. Down here we have home and back. Thank God they put a back button on this, because a lot of the emulators use back buttons, and that is something that AYN hadn't had in the past. So you had to use the on-screen controls to go backward, where now you can actually use that back button, which is beautiful. We do have Hall effect joysticks. I believe, just a little I've played with this, that these are the same Hall effect joysticks that are probably on the Retro Pocket 2S. That's what they feel like. I think they're the same size. They feel like they're about the same size. They look like they're about the same size. So I don't know. I mean, they're pretty close if they're not. And they both have that concave in them, which feels really good when you use it. Moving over from that, we do have our D-pad. This is a Vita D-pad, very clicky. You can get your angles on it, but it is a Vita-style D-pad. And then we do have our face buttons, which in this route, they actually did better. Last time they were kind of a clicky switch button. These do feel better. I'm not sure what they changed. So like these have like a slow travel to them. These are a lot clickier and definitely work a lot better. Before we go any further, just a quick disclaimer. Everything here is going to be a random gestation of my thoughts based off of my experience. Nobody's going to see this video before I put it out. Probably not even myself. Let's move right along. Also for this video, because I already know what some of the requests are that I got for showing a little bit of gameplay footage, if the Nintendo Ninjas are watching this, every game that I play on here, I own. Even the Sega Ninjas. I don't know if Sega's got Ninjas, but any Ninjas from anybody, if I play a game on here, I own that game. These are my ROMs. There's many like them, but these ones are mine. So I have mine. I'm running Daijishu on mine. I think a lot of people will do that. I've thought about running some other different front ends, but I'm just such a fan of Daijishu, and I was able to set it up very similarly, but I did set up a little different than my original Odin, just because I wanted to feel slightly different. But this front end really just makes any Android device feel like not a phone. Otherwise, most of your other front ends just make these handhelds feel like a phone, and that's just unfortunate. Now, AYN does have their own front end for this, which is great if you want to use it. But for me, because I've been using Daijishu so long, and I think it's just a cleaner looking front end and gives me some more tweakability, so to speak, I stick with this. But when you're initially loading it up, you do have the option to put the AYN front end on there. It still takes about as long to set up, because I did that last year for the other one, and then I switched to Daijishu almost immediately afterwards. So I have mine boot into my widget, or I call it the multimedia screen, but it is the widget screen from Daijishu. where I've got access to all my remote play, whether it be Xbox, PlayStation, Moonlight, Steam, any of that stuff. I used to have NVIDIA GeForce on here. I took that off. I stopped using it. I'm pretty sure that went away now, so I didn't think that I needed to add that. I have 3 different ways to play Game Pass, and what I'm doing is testing to see which is the best way. So usually I'm using the Game Pass beta app, actually, so I must be pulling that out of my apps. But anyways, the official Xbox app, I've been trying this XB Play app. I'm not sold on it yet, but I really like the XBX Play app. It's exactly like the PSP Play app. Same developers and everything. You do have to pay for it. It's about $6. I think both of these, this one might have been $8, but they're both kind of about the same price. But I'm trying to figure out how to play Xbox the best. And from what I can tell so far, this one does okay, this XB Play, but this XBX Play, it smokes it. What I think it does is I think it makes the Xbox servers think you're playing on a computer and not on an Android device, because your picture clarity, your speeds, everything are way better. It's cleaner. You have less hiccups when you're playing through this app than even when you play on the Game Pass app. And we all know the Game Pass app kind of waters you down a little bit unless you're actually playing on a console. So, and even a console more so than a desktop. So it kind of makes sense. So this is kind of my main load up screen. But then we have our platforms. So this is going to play some platforms. So I just loaded a couple of games on a memory card in a couple of different platforms that this can play, that a lot of devices play okay or not at all. This device can play it all. In fact, this device is powerful enough right now that when it comes to something like Nintendo Switch, the emulators aren't even caught up to this yet. So this is going to have a little longevity on it. We're going to have some time to be able to use this where things are going to continue to get better as they start to work on things like Yuzu for Android devices. We're going to continue to get performance increases. But the cool thing about this is you don't even need to be on like high performance settings or anything in most cases to be able to play games. Usually it's kind of medium performance. If you're just playing older ROMs on this device and doing some like 8-bit systems or something like that, you can get like a 17-hour plus battery out of this thing. I'm at 73% right now, and I've been playing Switch games all day today. So after about 12 hours, and it's give or take because I've been busy doing other things too, but still after 12 hours without being charged, we're still sitting at 73%. So this battery in here is just great. That's all I gotta say. And it's quick charging, so when you do go around to charge it, you do have a 65-watt charger on it. In fact, let's do that right now. We'll go through some of the specs on this thing. All right, without reinventing the wheel, we are going to use AYN's data sheet here just so that we don't have to retype it back up for you, because it's really nice and theirs looks really clean and it looks better than what I would have come up with. So we've got a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 in here. There is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 that just came out that's being tested by some people right now. I'm not sure if it's out to the public yet, but I know I have seen some testing on it. But by and far, this is more than you're going to need. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 isn't that much different than this. In fact, most people that are testing it are saying wait till the 4 because there's not a huge leap between the two of them. So you're looking pretty much longevity till 2025-ish, depending on how fast the chips come out. But that would be the normal progression. So you've got some good time before you would need to upgrade to another device. Before I forget, this does have an Adreno 740 processor in it. These just come in different sizes of RAM, 8, 12, and 16. I'm just going to speak from my own experience. I think that if you went with the 12 gig model, which is the Pro version of this, you're going to be set for a long time. Right now, there's nothing that really needs the 16. And in fact, to run Switch, you only need 8. Even the lowest model would be fine for running Switch games. That being said, you're using a lot of, all of your processing power for the games then, which is kind of what we ran into with the original Odin. So you were right there at the edge, where here you still have a little bit of wiggle room if you are going to go with the 12. But again, right now, the way things are sitting, 16 is not going to be necessary. Now, those do come with different storage sizes on the internals. So it's 128, 256, and 512. And that's literally just based off of how much RAM you want to have. They do have Wi-Fi 7, which is pretty awesome. We did talk about before too, the Type-C and the display port out of the top, which is that micro HDMI. These are running Android 13, which is phenomenal. It's pretty well updated. They do have an 8,000 milliamp battery. They have active cooling, which we did look at the vents on here for that. And I did mention earlier that 65-watt charging. All right, moving right along, we are going to do a couple of games. We'll do maybe a game from each of a couple of systems, and then we will carry on with our day. So we're going to try Dreamcast here. I'm also running my screen brightness right now on about 40%. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see it. It's too bright in here. The weird thing about this is it doesn't get super dark, so it's kind of hard to play in bed from what I can tell, just because it's so bright. And so if it's dark in the room, it like burns your retinas out. There is a night mode. I haven't tried that yet. Maybe I'll give that a shot. We'll talk about it in the next video. We're back! We're going to turn that volume down. Holy cow, is that loud. So right now, I'm actually not in performance at all. I'm just running in like the normal eco mode. So as I was saying, I got the screen brightness at about 40%, and I've got the volume way down. This device gets super loud, like ridiculously loud. It is nice with the front-firing speakers, You guys have heard me complain about that before. I think it's really stupid when the speakers go behind. They're here for you, not for somebody else. So this works really well. I mean, and again, you're going to have so much power in this in comparison to what you're probably used to. Now, there are some other devices that are kind of right here. I know AYN came out with a device recently that's similar as far as specs go, but as far as price to performance, this is ultimately the best device you can possibly get right now. I can't think of another device price to performance wise kind of fits in this category. If somebody has one, let me know, but I can't think of anything for what this costs, and it just looks so clean. So we can actually run higher resolution, and actually that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm not even on performance. I'm running 2 times regular resolution here on Dreamcast, and we could run way higher than this even. Why am I so lost? Oh crap, it's right there. I'm gonna miss it. Okay, we're gonna try this out here. We're using Redream. We're on 2 times resolution for Dreamcast. We're gonna see what happens. I think we already know what's gonna happen, but I think Crazy Taxi might be a lot harder game to play than this, but let's just see how this looks. Because I'm terrible at this game, so it's always fun to watch me crash into stuff. I don't know why I feel like I can do like cool borders tricks when I go off and jumps on this game. So I think this gives you a pretty good idea of how things are going to perform on here. There is absolutely no problems running any of these games, and we're just going through some games we go through all the time. I apparently put myself way too far into this battle. Alright, so we are running God of War at 3 times resolution. I am running a Vulkan backend, but I think OpenGL might be better on this, to be honest. I just naturally always run Vulkan for some reason, and I don't think we need that. I don't think we need what Vulkan has to offer. So as you can see, this runs just fine. Higher resolution, all that fun, happy jazz. We'll try another game out here. We're going to skip PlayStation 1 and go straight to PlayStation 2. So Ratchet & Clank is one of the hardest games to emulate for some reason. Let's see what we got for settings here. Can we look at that? We're running Vulkan backend 2 times resolution on PS2. We could probably run 3 or 4 times resolution, to be honest with you. I've played this on systems on this channel before where you're just floating all over the place. And there's systems that say they can play PS2. This really can play PS2. I still don't have my controls quite right, but it's good enough for now. Anyway, so Ratchet & Clank plays on here on PS2. So you're going to be fine playing pretty much anything on PS2. Worst case scenario is you'd have to play it at 1 times resolution. That's not going to be the case here, though. You're going to be able to play anything on here. And last but not least, just because I wanted to make this pretty short here today, we are going to jump into Nintendo Switch, and I know everybody's having a hard time with Batman on the actual Switch, so we're going to try it on here and see what happens. A warning, you could get epilepsy by watching this video, apparently, so just giving you a heads up. Now, Nintendo Ninjas, I promise you I own this game. I'm just going to go beat some people up. Kind of a dark game, I guess, to do on here, but it works. That guy's kind of dead. He's deceased, but he's got something next to him. You do get points in this game for taking these things out. I think you have to take out like 20 of them or something. But these people are alive. They're just unconscious. Interesting. Anyways, this game works pretty well. I thought I'd test it just to see, and I jumped into it earlier today just to see what it could do. And I was pretty surprised, I'm not gonna lie. I was super stoked to buy this. I had pre-ordered this game, and now I've played it like twice on my Switch, and that's it. Because I'm doing these videos all the time, I don't get a whole lot of time to play my Switch. Got a little hiccup there. But for the most part, she's running pretty normal. Let's try to see what happens when we turn her up a little bit. It seems like it's running fine, but let's take a look here. I've never played this little lady before. She does pretty well. Can I suck up water from in here? Yeah. Heck yeah. Oh no, that was a bad jump. Alright, so that probably gives you a pretty good idea how that works. So I just want to give you guys a quick peek at this device. I don't know if you're looking at picking one up. This is kind of one of those, like, you really have to be into the sport kind of things. Like, you got to get the good skates. This as a handheld will get you far in comparison to some of the other things that we look at on this channel. Not to say that there's anything wrong with those devices, because there is a spot for those devices, and I carry them myself, so I completely understand. This is for when you want to have everything and have it play the same or better than it was when it originally came out. Which kind of gets rid of some of that retro vibe, but it still gives you an opportunity to upscale and do things like that. I'll leave links to everything I talked about down in my thingamabob, and why don't you leave me some comments? Let me know what you think about the Odin 2. Is it something you picked up? Is it something you're going to pick up? Were you as nervous as I was after the first Odin came out and the deliveries got all screwed up? And then it happened to the Loki, and I'm like, oh no, not the Odin 2. And then it came out early. So here we go. But anyways, that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Sharing helps grow the channel, and I could use all the help that I can get, and I do appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye! Hey, since you're still here, do me a favor. There's a subscribe button floating around. You must have liked the video or you fell asleep, but you made it to the end. If you hit that subscribe button, you can turn on the notification bell and know when I upload videos. Kind of a little random lately, just because of all the things I got going on. Once you're done with that, check out one of these other videos. YouTube seems to think you're going to like them. That's all I got for you today. I'm out.